So I know I have been um, trying to dodge spoilers as best I can um, for the movies that we have been talking about in the lead up to Eddington coming out. Well, coming out. It's already out. It's out today when the video goes up. But for this film, I gotta talk about almost every single thing that happens in this movie because every single thing is important. And I may have cracked the code as to what this movie is all about and what it is secretly doing. But we have a little bit of time to discuss, shall we? Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strunk from QuickTime Reactions, and this is Ariaster's most recent film, of course, before the release of Eddington, and that is Beau is Afraid. Of course, it is written and directed by him, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix, Parker Posey, Michael Gandolfini, Haley Squires. I hope I'm saying that last name correctly. Stephen McKinley Henderson, Zoe Lister-Jones, Pattilupone, Nathan Lane, Amy Ryan, and so many other people. And it follows Beau, and he is very much, as the title says, he is afraid of a lot of things. But this instance, he is going to try and go see his mother. And there are all sorts of roadblocks and strange occurrences that kind of thwart him from getting to her in a proper amount of time. So, will he be able to go and see his mother? Well, only time will tell. So, interesting story about this one. So, this is the first one the first one of Ari Aster's films that I actually saw in theaters. And I had heard of the success of, Hereditary and Midsummer, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and check this out. And actually, funny enough, I went to a early screening of the film. It was showing in IMAX, and we got these lovely like T-shirts that match up with. I know it's not the best way to show it off, but it matches the pajamas that show up in the movie. Like you can see the Beau name tag right there, and on the back of the shirt it has not only the A24 logo but also the MW logo, which shows up a lot in the course of this movie. It is on like this the microwavable food. It's on the microwave. It's on the television. It's pretty much everywhere. It is basically the by and large of the of this movie. And to all my Pixar heads out there that understand that, I see you and I appreciate you. And well, first, before we really dive deep into the well here, let's just get like surface level stuff out of the way. Performances. This movie is really held up, in my opinion, on the strength of Joaquin Phoenix's performance as Beau, because he has to be on at every point during this film. And I can only imagine like being at that sort of level for almost the entire the runtime of this movie, which, by the way, this movie is 179 minutes long. It's almost 3 hours. So to be just going at an 11 for almost 3 hours. Now, sure, he kind of like dips and wavers, but he's always on that razor's thin edge, and to be on like that for that long a time is absolutely remarkable. Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane, they also were really good in this movie as well. Like their little chunk, I also very much appreciated, and they were, a kind of sense of normalcy in this film. It's like, oh, we have this like normal ish life, and I will get to that ish part here in a little bit. But they were just like, just like you would just see them as like your next door neighbors, and it didn't seem like all out of place, for them to be just like average, Joe type of people. And I really dug that aspect of their performance in this. Of course, the same cinematographer, Paweł Pogorzelski. Again, I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your last name, but he is back for the third film in a row that Ariaster has directed, and there are some really, really good shots in this movie. Like, for instance, and I'm not spoiling anything when I say this, because I believe this was shown in the trailer, where there's a scene of younger Beau and his mom, Mona, and Beau's laying in bed, and obviously mom's like sitting at the foot of the bed, and there's this light that spins around. It's like one of those kid lights that has like the shapes and stuff in it, and so that light is spinning, and the camera is focused on Beau's mom, and you just see those shapes just pass by her face, and it changes color, and you just get that like sense of dread about you. Like it doesn't feel good. And then there's another shot where we are in the POV of somebody, and Mona takes someone up to the attic, and we're looking at it from like a hallway, and the camera pulls back at such a rate that it is like, it could be scary. Like, that pullback of the camera is just really, really jarring, and it literally just like, wakes you up with your senses. It's just like, oh my gosh, like what on earth what is going on here? So major shouts out to Pogorzelski for continuing to find new and unique ways of shooting all this stuff that's going on in Ari Aster's films. Now, the thing that has been, just itching in the back of my head for, 2 years after seeing this is, I think I understand what is going on in this movie. Now, for me to fully explain this, I'm going to go into spoilers for this movie. So, it is revealed in the movie that Beau's mom dies from like a light falling from the ceiling and crushing her head. And so, Beau was already planning on going out and seeing his mom, but here it is, he does have to go because, she's dead. He has to go to her funeral. And right off the bat, you can already tell that the world in this is very, very weird. Because a guy walks by his door, slips a note under Beau's door, and he's like, "Hey, can you like turn down your music?" And then another note goes by, and I'm like, "No, seriously, like turn down your music." Another note comes like whizzing up to his bedside, and he's like, "I said to turn down your music," and then literally the hall next to him blares music. So it's like the world in here is very, very strange. And so Beau's on a new type of medication that, you always have to drink water with it. Always. And so he dry takes the pill by accident and he rushes over to a convenience store to get water. He does. Little does he know, all of the what I'm calling street people are going up to his apartment and basically partying. Um, Little do they know is that there is a very deadly spider in Beau's apartment. And so while Beau is like, taking a bath and stuff after everyone is cleared out, there's a dude hanging. I wouldn't necessarily say hanging. He's basically Spider-Manning to the walls in above Beau just because he is like, oh god, and then you see the spider walk across his face. And he drops onto Beau. They have a tussle to make sure A, they want to get out of that bathtub, and B, they don't want to have that spider on him. And so Beau gets out in the street. He's butt naked, and of course there is a naked guy who's running around with a knife stabbing people, and he spots that guy. So Beau runs up to a cop, and the cop is like, "Drop your weapon. Don't make me do this." When, he's just holding like a little porcelain statue that he got for his mom. So he's like, wandering around stumbling and gets trucked by, take a look here, Grace, by Grace's truck. And so Grace takes Beau to her house where her and Roger, Nathan Lane's character, try and heal him of his ailments. And he's got a health ankle monitor on his ankle, not only to keep track of how he is, but also to locate him. Also on the property is their daughter Tony and a big dude named Jeeves, who we find out was one of the people that Roger and Grace's son had served with, but their son is no longer in the picture. So Jeeves is now on the property, having major PTSD, by the way. Lots of PTSD. I don't know if it's PTSD or just like, he's these really bad, like, waking dreams that he just can't seem to, like, get out of. And you notice, throughout the movie, it's like things keep happening to Beau, where it's like you stretch out the amount of time that it takes for him to get to his mom's house. Like when he was back at his apartment, his key got stolen and his luggage got stolen. At Grace and Roger's house, Roger gets a call. Oh, one of my clients split his head open, and the wife's like, "Well, I can't miss work today." And so they're like, "Beau, can we? I know we said today, but can we try for tomorrow?" And Beau's like, "No, I wanna try and leave now," and then is eventually coaxed into staying that extra day. Well, Grace is going to try and tell him something. Roger pulls her aside and, to help out with something in the doing yard work or something. And she gives Beau the TV remote and whispers in his ear to turn to channel 78. So he goes to channel 78, and it's live CCTV footage of him in the front room. So he pauses it, he rewinds it, he fast forwards it, he keeps fast forwarding it to things that we have yet to see in the film, like him near like a highway, him arriving to the house, him sitting over a balcony in that house, and him in a boat in a lake somewhere. Keep those images in mind. So the daughter just have enough of just kind of, I think, A, being left out, and B, Beau getting all the attention. She decides to go into the brother's room, throw all sorts of mismatched paint on the walls, and then drink the paint. And so Grace finds it, and she's distraught over having lost her daughter, and she sends Jeeves to basically go and kill Beau. Beau gets clotheslined by a tree branch, and he is brought to this band of traveling theater goers. And basically Beau sits in on a play. And this is where the movie takes an immediate stop, and you have a mini movie happen for like the next 15 to 25 minutes, where Beau assumes the actor that's on stage, and the narrator's like, you'll walk hundreds or even thousands of miles. You'll learn a craft, and you'll learn a trade, and you'll get really good at that trade. You'll start to bring in wealth. You'll find this, your soulmate. You'll start to grow a family, but then, a terrible storm separates you all. And then so you wash up on this strange land, and you are seen as an outsider, and you're locked up, you're questioned, you're all these things. You are tortured beyond belief. You write down every single aspect of your life, and as you grow old, and towards like the tail end of it, it's like Beau's reliving events that he has already seen as well. And then so old man Beau goes, and instead of buying food, he instead goes to watch this theater production where his 3 sons are in that production. And they reunite, they have this beautiful moment, but then the question gets asked, it's like, what happened with Grandpa? And Beau says, well, he died when I was conceived, and we learned that in a flashback within a flashback, that scene with the rotating light with like the shapes in it. That's where we learn Beau's dad died when the moment he was conceived, died instantly. And so that trait is passed down to each guy. And so it's like, well, if we're here, how are you alive? That breaks out of the transition. Jeeves ends up finding where Beau is, but he's kind of taken care of quite easily. Basically, he's not tripped. I think he's hit with something, and he falls, and his I believe his gun is just like shooting him like right in like the chin throat area. So, but Jeeves is able to shock Beau, which sends him face first into the ground. He does find a highway and is able to hitch a ride to the house where he arrives. He then finds that, everyone's, cleared out of the house, like catering's leaving, all the decorating people are leaving, like the wake is pretty much well done. Um, and so, Beau is, sitting on a balcony, overlooking everything, seeing where his mom is, and, just, sitting on a balcony. And later on in the night, one of his old friends, and maybe even an old flame of his, Elaine, that is her name, yes, Elaine, Parker Posey's character, she shows up, also late, having thinking, oh, I'll be here in time for the wake. No, not so much. And so they reconnect, and they're going to, they didn't have the ability to when they were, really young, but since they're now adults, they're going to have some sex. But Beau is, of course, afraid that, with his heart, he could die if, you know, but that doesn't happen. Instead, that actually happens to Elaine. She dies while having sex, and it is also revealed that Mona is, in fact, not dead. And she, instructs the maids to basically get Elaine out of there. And so, Mona, played by the absolutely legendary Pattilupone, which I think she does, for the brief amount of screen time that she has in this movie, she also does absolutely amazing job. So, her and Beau are going back and forth, and it's made abundantly clear that she does not care about Beau. Not in the slightest. And it's and it finally gets to the point of, you want to know who your father is? And Beau's like, yeah, I do. And so, they go to that attic. And she puts Beau up in that attic, shuts the door. Beau finds a light, and he finds a dude who I believe might be his brother. I'm not 100% sure. But he sees this dude in this attic, and he points the flashlight over to a different area, and there is this giant, giant dick monster, and we, the audience, we're supposed to believe that dick monster is Beau's father. That's the biggest WTF moment I've ever experienced in a theater in my life. And so Beau, just everything's not computing. He just decides to, leave the house, and he finds himself a boat, and he goes out onto a lake. And so he eventually finds the cave, but the motor stops working on this boat. And you hear lights flick on. And there's a whole stadium seating of people around. And Richard Kind plays Dr. Cohen, and he's kind of acting as an attorney for Mona in the, kind of showcasing evidence that Beau has been a bad son, and that he should not, kind of exist in the world. And Beau does have an attorney, but I think he is chucked off into the drink, and he's no longer with the living. And so they showcase all of the evidence, him running from homeless people, him being forgetful about his keys and his luggage, him, saying, "Oh, it's fine if we take an extra day with Grace and Roger, and just taking all this time to get there. And sure enough, that engine motor starts to like sputter, spark, and then that boat just flips over, turtles, and Beau is gone. That's how the movie ends. Credits. It's this static shot of the boat turned over. Credits start to roll, and you see all the people in the back filing out. So I basically explained the whole movie in basically maybe 25, maybe 26 minutes. But it is really, really meant to be seen. And there's one thing that I have not mentioned that I think ties in to my overall theory as to what is going on. In the office area, where Beau is like looking around the house, he notices what I call the face of faces picture, where it's a picture of Mona, and it is made up of all sorts of faces, like employees for the company of MW. One of those faces is Elaine, but that's pretty easy and understandable. Beau saw her on the news, and her job title was with MW, so that makes a whole lot of sense. But there's another face in that face of faces picture that we've seen before. It's Roger. Roger's in that picture. And so is the dude that was in the street near Beau's apartment. The dude with the neck tattoo. He was also out and about as well. And now that we know that Roger worked for MW, and that he just so happened to have a patient get his head split open on the day that he was going to bring Beau to his mom's house, I'm going to say, just chucking this out as a theory, that Mona it was abundantly clear she never wanted to have Beau. She, even in the first minutes of the film, she even says, like, why did you have me have him? She never wanted him as a kid. Never. Always had a resentment to him. But she choked back, her pride, and was like, I'm still going to raise you as my son. And so, she builds up, this empire, gets all these employees, etc., all this happening. And she's like, we're going to have this little get together. And if Beau doesn't show up and give the time frame of maybe 48 to 72 hours or something like that, some sort of time frame, I'm just going to have him killed. I legitimately think that this movie is all just one big, giant conspiracy by MW, and more specifically Mona, to have her son killed. And the nail in this coffin for me is when Beau is walking back with his new prescription. He walks by a kid who's controlling an RC boat in a little trough pool thing. And when he's dragged away, that boat flips over and has the bottom side of it facing up. I'm just putting that out there. That's what I think is going on in this movie. It is all one giant conspiracy to gather up as much evidence against Beau as possible so that Mona and MW can basically have him killed and just be taken out of the picture entirely. That's what I think is going on in this movie. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this movie, because man, was it divisive when it came out. I don't know if it has gained more of a cult following ever in the 2 years that this has been out, but it is most certainly Ariaster's most interesting film he has made to date, for sure. And it'll be very interesting to see what he does with his next film, Eddington, which, by the way, look out for that review on the channel after I go see it. But that is pretty much it. I've held on to this for, again, 2 years. I've wanted to put this out there. I just didn't know how to. But now that I've started my YouTube channel, I now get to share my crazy thoughts about this movie to every single one of you. So, yeah, that is my review and slash very long explanation as to what I think is going on in Beau is Afraid. Until next time, guys, be safe out there, and I need a drink after watching that movie, because, man, just lots of stuff happening. I will catch you guys next time.